Coming up on SBU TV, we take a look at the United Kingdom's view on our election in the sport of pumpkin shooting. Hello and welcome to SBU TV. I'm Amelia Kibbe.
And I'm Lian. Lecturers visiting St. Bonaventure offered a global perspective on the American election. I got a chance to talk with them. This year's Lenna visiting scholars traveled across the Atlantic Ocean to talk about U.S. politics. The funded professorship program is designed to bring scholars to Bonaventure and Jamestown Community College to give public lectures. Journalists Alan and Barbara Mackenzie delivered their talk, UK, State of the Nation, on Wednesday, November 9th to the Bonaventure community. The Mackenzies compared the British government to the U.S. government. They also compared Britain's referendum to leave the European Union, otherwise known as Brexit, to the most recent presidential election. In both countries, we've had, for quite a long period of time, a large blue-collar, working-class constituency of people who have felt that they've been ignored by central government, that they feel alienated, they feel disillusioned, furious that they've been left behind by the establishment. Alan says while Trump voters and Brexit voters are similar, many people against Brexit didn't vote on the referendum because they didn't think they had to. They thought they were definitely going to win, and they were taken by great surprise. The volume of votes to leave. This American election, both sides turned out to the polls because they were energized by the notion their side could lose. USA Today reports voter turnout was up 4.7% nationwide. Barbara says with Donald Trump winning the election, he will have to try and unite the country after such a polarizing election cycle. She said compared to the British system, Americans may be expecting too much from their presidents. Britain's Prime Minister acts as the governing body, while the Queen has spiritual and emotional power. America expects its president to do both, be the face of the country and the governing force. Alan jokingly says he's accused Americans in the past of thinking they're the center of the universe. Well, on election night, they were. With SBU TV, I'm Lian. The Mackenzies were also Lenna visiting professors in 1993.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Madeleine Faircloth took a trip to a local turkey farm this week in our series of fall fun.
Thanksgiving is upon us, and these turkeys are getting ready for their big day.
Even if some aren't quite ready for it. At Sprague's Turkey Farm, just a mile away from the well-known Sprague's restaurant, owner Randy Sprague continues his father's tradition of raising thousands of free-range turkeys for both the restaurant's Thanksgiving dinner and hundreds of home family gatherings.
It's families that have been doing this as a tradition for almost as long as we've had the farm. As the family generations change, that's passed down through, and we still get families that have done it for just decades and continue to come and get a real good premium bird.
Sprague gets the turkeys as poults and raises them himself, not putting them in cages and allowing them to roam inside and out freely, while using no additives or antibiotics. They're kept in our barn when they're real little until they're old enough to be outside in the weather, and then we turn them loose after they're about 6 weeks old, and they go out on this whole range area, and it's about a 20-acre range that they can go out on. Reservations for Thanksgiving dinner at Sprague's are filling up fast, and even the turkeys seem to know why.
We raise a good portion of our flock to use at our restaurant at Sprague's Maple Farms, and we serve fresh dressed on Thanksgiving Day there. We dress for anyone that wants to have Thanksgiving at their home with their families and ready for pickup on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So coming up fast, so little do they know their days are very, very numbered at this point, so that's just the way it goes.
Turkeys can be ordered up until Monday the 21st this year, and are priced at about $3 a pound. For SBU TV, I'm Madeleine Faircloth.
To order a turkey, contact 716-307-9378 the Monday before Thanksgiving. I don't know, Lian. After watching that story, it's a little hard to eat turkey.
I think I'm going to do it anyways, Amelia. I really like turkey. The 45th presidential election has shocked the nation, but did it shock St. Bonaventure? Sammi Arena has the story.
The votes are in. And Mr. Trump, you're hired. Donald Trump is the new 45th President of the United States.
I've just received a call from Secretary Clinton. She congratulated us, it's about us, on our victory. And I congratulated her and her family on a very, very hard-fought campaign.
With Trump's 279 electoral votes over Hillary Clinton's 228, his win shocked the nation. But with shock also came backlash. Anti-Trump protests have ensued in New York City, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, Portland, and Seattle. I took to Bonaventure's halls to see if the shockwaves traveled to Lian as well. What is your reaction on Trump winning the presidency?
I was really surprised.
What is your reaction to Trump winning the presidency?
I cried when I found out. That was my reaction. Literally disbelief.
I thought my wife lied to me when she told me in the morning.
There were definitely some unhappy voters, but the overall tone was one of optimism.
The possibility that something good could come from this, what? Don't know, but I think there's a possibility. I think everything will work out for the best.
I think he's going to be good for our country. I think he's going to be able to boost our economy, and then he's going to do a lot of good things for the United States.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
For SBU TV, I'm Sammi Arena.
Donald Trump is set to be sworn in on January 20th on the steps of the U.S. Capitol.
Pumpkins flew this past weekend, and Madeleine took a look at why.
Why throw away pumpkins after Halloween when you can?
That's all right. Oh! Here, look at this. Is this? No!
Okay. Just tell me when. Pumpkins flew this past weekend, and Madeleine took a look at why.
Why throw away pumpkins after Halloween when you can?
That's all right. Oh! Here, look at this. Is this? No!
Here at Besecker and Koss, when October's over, so are pumpkins.
The Lian appliance store has hosted this event for 7 years now to help local nonprofit organizations.
Whatever money we make will all go to League. Yeah, 100% of the proceeds go. And every year we have always given more than the previous year.
The last time we did it, I think the revenue was $3,200 total after everything had came in.
Teams of 3 sign up and donate $15 each this year to League Nature Preserve, helping disabled veterans through outdoor recreation. The teams pick a catapult, a pumpkin, take their stances, and let them fly. If they hit a target, the team gets a certain donated prize based on that number on the target. With about 60 teams of 3, 100 people in attendance, and donations from 80 local businesses and organizations, the event fully depends on donations to make it possible and is always held the Sunday after Halloween. For SBU TV, I'm Madeleine Faircloth.
For more information on Besecker and Koss and the Great Pumpkin Shoot, visit their Facebook page.
Katie Brown drove out to the Porterville area to speak to a family with quite a distinctive bus.
It's not typical that I run into a school bus with a VW van on top of it in the Walmart parking lot. So once I saw the unique bus, I knew I had to get the story and the people behind it.
Bus name is Squeaky Bus. It's a 90 Chevy diesel, and it's basically a homemade RV.
Paul Sorvillo, his wife, and their 5 other kids own, love, and use the bus to get around.
I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with driving it. Like, if you have a vehicle like this, it literally does become a part of your family. The kids love it. The kids talk about Squeaky Bus like it's a living thing.
Sorvillo owned the VW van before the school bus, and once it broke down, he couldn't bear to get rid of it. After he had the bus for a few years, the idea to combine the two suddenly came to him.
I was in my work truck going down the freeway, downtown Las Vegas, and going up the freeway in the other direction was an old school bus with a Volkswagen van on the roof. And the light bulb just went off over my head. I was like, oh my God. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
From its wheels to the roof, Squeaky Bus is covered in original art. Sorvillo blames most of it on friends and family.
So like for Thanksgiving, we'd be like, well, let's have a potluck and a barbecue and have people over and paint the bus.
Although Sorvillo receives a mixture of reactions, Squeaky Bus usually creates many happy faces.
90% of the people that react to this bus have a smile on their face, and I love that. I love the fact that the bus brings joy to people, just like it brings me and my wife and my kids joy.
For SBU TV, I'm Catherine Brown. The Squeaky Bus fills up at the county fair in Portville. Be sure to take a picture and use hashtag Squeaky Bus on all of your social media.
A few weeks ago, I looked into elevated levels of lead in drinking water at Portville Central School. This week, I decided to take a look into the water situation right here at St. Bonaventure.
School after school in western New York reporting higher levels of lead in drinking water. I talked to Associate Vice President of Facilities, Phil Winger, to find out how safe Bonaventure's water is.
We don't have the indicators for an issue.
Winger says the town and village of Allegheny test the university's water 4 times a year. The university receives an annual report.
And that always shows us well below the regulatory limit for water. So that's been our involvement with this issue so far.
The town generally tests the same high-use areas, he says.
First problem is when a seldom used water pipe that contains lead sits for a long time and then somebody drinks it or otherwise consumes it. I don't see where we have that. Our big buildings have tremendous water flow all the time.
Winger says Bonaventure is aware of the recent spikes in reports from elementary and high schools.
In the environment is a particular hazard to young children. So for that reason, there's been a focus on schools.
According to the Environmental Protection Agency, plumbing from before 1986 likely has lead pieces. However, Winger says constant use makes this not a problem.
Winger says the university's newer buildings, such as the townhouses on the east side of campus, are even less likely to contain levels of lead.
At this point, Winger believes no additional action is required. With SBU TV, I'm Amelia Kibbe.
A yearly water report can be found at the Town of Allegheny's website.
That's all for us today in the Coop.
I'm Amelia Kibbe.
And I'm Lian Bunny. Thanks for watching and tune in again next week.